because I think this deserves its own moment of recognition. Allsop with 2 back-to-back incredible saves. And to me, that was just as good as a goal. Because if Stockport score that just before half-time, the second half's a completely different game because they have something to fight for, they have something to come back in. Allsop, fair play to you, mate. Absolutely incredible. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And last night, Birmingham City beat Stockport County 2-0 in a fantastic win. And of course, we all know Blues have quite a few games in hand over certain teams, so it's nice to keep it competitive up the top half of the table and keep closing that gap. And that brings it to 10 home games now, undefeated, really good form, and really noticing that strength and making St.Andrews that fortress we always need it to be. So, Dad, Stockport County 0, Birmingham City 2. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, firstly, the result's everything, isn't it? 2-0. Yeah, you said, Matt, we've obviously kept the points ticking over because the previous night there was wins for teams near the top of the table. So, and that's all it's about, really. It's just about looking after your own results and ticking over because teams are going to go on good form. There are going to be teams at the top. Of course, there are. But we just need to focus on ourselves. And I thought that last night was a really important game for us because Stockport are a decent team. They're not too far away from where we are on the table at the moment. So, yeah, just pleased with the two goals and 3 points. And just keeps us right where we want to be at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And I thought the first half performance was fantastic. I thought, actually, it started quite slow and a bit scrappy, and then we picked the pace up, and we were just relentless from then, really, weren't we? And Krystian Anderson down that right-hand side, every chance we created, every moment of danger was coming through him down that side. I mean, what a first. I mean, I think that's the best half of football we've seen from Krystian Anderson at Blue so far.
Yeah.
It was absolutely outstanding, weren't it? And I mean, Stockport had a couple of chances in the first half. They hit the bar quite early on. Allsop made a couple of that double save. We'll come back to that in a little bit because I think that deserves its own appreciation.
It does, yeah.
So they had a couple of chances, but overall from Blues, I felt like that was a very dominant first half. In fact, I felt we won the game in the first half, and then the second half we kind of stayed in second, third gear a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, I liked the fact that it's shown a different dimension to our game. So on the starting lineup, Chris Davies went back to the same starting lineup as Exeter because obviously we had the cup game in between, and there was lots of changes to the starting lineup. And in both games, both Exeter and now this game, we haven't conceded a goal, and it's showing a completely different character to our team that we are able now to, defend better for a start. We've sort of cut out the possibility of silly goals. Not that we'll never concede a silly goal again. We will, but I just love Ben Davies at the back.
Yeah, same.
He's just a no nonsense. Like there's a couple of occasions he went through players. A couple of occasions he kicked the ball out because it needed to be done, rather than try and sort of mess around with it. And I think that's made a massive difference as well. The only change actually in the team was on the bench. Yuki came in for Yokoyama. Besides that, it was exactly the same against Exeter, which was good to see.
Yeah, but coming back into the game, Dad, I thought Alfie May in the 9 again was absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant.
And he has to be number 9, doesn't he? If that doesn't prove it, I mean, he scored 2 classic sort of poaching, goal-scoring, number 9 positional goals.
Well, we've been banging the drum, haven't we, for ages? I'm sure all Blues fans have. Alfie May has to be played the number 9, and it shows you what happens when you put him in the number 9.
Yeah.
Because if you play him in the number 10, another position, he's not in those positions that he was in last night to score those goals. He's going in, running into the box, getting into positions.
He's the most instinctive striker we've had since Kevin Phillips, in my opinion. Just knows where the goal is, just knows how to score goals. And that is invaluable. So for me, please, Chris Davies, we need to keep Alfie May in the 9 moving forward because I think he's got so many more goals than him this season, And because what happened was the transfer market ended. Jay Stansfield came in on that final day. I think Alfie May was already up to sort of 3 or 4 goals before Stansfield came in. And then Chris Davies has sort of had this experiment over the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Now Alfie May's back in the 9. I have no doubt he could, even with the sort of discrepancy of these 2 months, he still could get 20 goals this season if we keep him in that position.
I agree, and I don't think it's just Alfie May, Matt. I think the shape of the team looks right. Williamson's in his right position in number 10. Although I think that may change against Barnsley. I'll talk about that when we come to that post-match video when we put that one out. But because Krystian Anderson is going to be suspended for the Barnsley game, he picked up a yellow card. So he's going to miss.
Oh, that ref was a disgrace, wasn't it?
Well, that's another point as well. It's just the inconsistency, I mean, their players as well, particularly after we went 2-0 up, they were getting quite physical, which teams do in this league. I think we expect it, but some of those tackles.
But what really frustrated me,
going straight through our players and not even giving a yellow card in some occasions.
What the biggest thing for me was someone. I don't want to say he nearly broke his leg because that would be an exaggeration, but someone absolutely wiped Cochrane out, wiped him out, had no intention of getting the ball right in front of the Stockport fans, no yellow card. Someone body checks It might have been Stansfield a few minutes later, yellow card.
Yeah, I know.
Where's the consistency?
That's what I'm talking about.
It's so frustrating.
It really is. And some referees would have given yellow or even red cards for some of those changes. They literally were quite dangerous.
Yeah.
It was a greasy pitch because it was raining as well, but then that's just the playing conditions. But yeah, I mean, that was frustrating that we seem to be getting the raw end of the stick from the referee.
But when I say the referee was a disgrace, it was a protection of our players, a disgrace. So you need to put something in place to stop our players picking up injuries. You have to put, and then. Remember at Shrewsbury away, Dad, the goalkeeper was wasting time every second. Allsop does it for the first time and he gets a yellow straight away.
Well, that we mentioned this. If you haven't seen the post-match Shrewsbury podcast before, have a look at that because we mentioned that in there. That's a really important point because that Shrewsbury goalkeeper was holding onto the ball for like 20, 25. It's supposed to be six. The laws of the game say 6 seconds, 20, 25 seconds, and he didn't even get booked.
I know.
Allsop, it was 10 seconds. He got booked.
Worst time as well, pretty much. It's a disgrace.
But again, it goes back to inconsistency. Anyway, I don't want to make this podcast about referees, but it is a point to mention, though, Matt, because it does factor into games over the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just, nothing we can do about it. I just hope and pray that referees just get more consistent.
Yeah.
But onto the game, I just felt that, that always seemed, although they were a threat. In phases, they were a good progress, particularly when they went forward at the beginning of the second half when Challoner made those 3 changes. They looked like a decent team in patches, but Beilek, he completely nullified Barry.
Yeah, he did.
He did a fantastic, and we mentioned this, and so did other Blues fans in our comments in the pre-match video, is that we were concerned about Beilek's pace. Mm-hmm. Against Barry because he's a nippy little player, isn't he? And he did brilliant, Beilek. I mean, you've got to give credit to him. He gets some stick from the Blues fans sometimes from his lack of pace and stuff like that, but he's an experienced player and he completely stopped Barry doing absolutely anything.
We highlighted it in the pre-match video, Dad. Beilek and Clara's Achilles heel is their pace. They do get caught out sometimes for pace. But Beilek, his positioning was that outstanding. He just didn't let Barry have any time on the ball, didn't let him move. I mean, he had 1 or 2 moments where he took it past a couple of players, but he was completely nullified. He was completely ineffective. Beilek completely had him in his pocket, and I was so glad to see that for Beilek.
What I liked about Beilek, he got the support of his teammates as well. Do you know how we suffocate teams? I mean, they can't really string 5 or 6 passes together because we swarm them. So when Beilek was not 1-on-1, but when Barry had the ball, Beilek could go to him, but right behind him would be either Paker or Water.
It was, yeah. I noticed that actually. Paker and Water were tucking in a bit more.
Which was tactical, obviously, but also as well, you noticed as well that on a couple of occasions, particularly in the second half, I remember Ben Davies sliding across to completely take the ball out when there was on the attack as well. So the tactics were brilliant. That's why I feel so much better that we can win games now narrowly because I think we'll concede less goals based upon that shape in that team. Yeah. Of course, that's with the team that we've picked. He's picked it twice now. We can't carry on picking the same team because we've seen against Charlton where the team looked tired because he kept picking the same players. We need to utilise the squad, but if they're training to that shape and that, there's no reason why we can't bring other players into that system and give other players a rest or if they're suspended. But I thought Beilek was brilliant. The defence were great, and when they came under attack or when we came under attack and they used their pace, we snuffed it out. They had 1 or 2 little moments, and let's go on to the game actually because obviously they made a good start, didn't they? They did. Stockport, but like we say, Matt, all teams have a go. And we knew that they'd be direct, but they surprised us in the first 15 minutes with the low block, didn't they?
Well, actually, I've seen a bit of Stockport this season, Dad, and they are quite a progressive team. I don't want to say similar to Blues because we do have a better quality than Stockport, but they play it similar. They do play out from the back. They do pass it around. And I wasn't expecting a low block. I thought Stockport were going to come at us and have a go. And actually, I was really surprised to see them park the best part of 9 to 10 men in their own half, and they did come out and have a little bit of a crack at us and go a little bit more direct at the beginning of the game. But what I was disappointed was, and I guess it's a compliment to Stockport in a way, is I thought that they paid us a bit too much respect. They didn't come at us as much as I thought they would.
I think that was tactical. I think Dave Challoner would have said, look, you come to St.Andrews, it's a big stadium, big crowd. They're doing, they're quite. Birmingham City can hurt you. So I think he would have told his players, like for the first 15, 20 minutes. Let's keep it tight. Although they had the best chance, wasn't it? I mean, was it Will Collar? He got Louis Barry played the ball over to him, didn't he? And he hit the underside of the bar, and it was a good strike. That was. I think that was a bit of luck that we needed, because you need that in games as well, because that could have easily have gone under the bar and crept in.
Yeah.
But and he really smashed the bar as well with that, didn't he?
You really heard it, didn't you? Connect.
And that would have put us on the back foot if that had gone in, because we've been prone to conceding early goals in an early part of the season at home. Didn't happen, thankfully, and kept it out, and that allowed us then to carry on and build it. It was a bit of a shock for us, that, wasn't it? Because we were doing okay up to that point. I know it was early on, and then just after that, actually, Cochrane broke down the left and put a cross in, and Keshy Anderson came across, and it just went past the left-hand post. I think he was just in the wrong position. I think if he was slightly more towards the penalty spot, that's going in the post. But that was a good move as well.
I thought it looked a lot closer in person than it did when I watched it back. I mean, it was still a good chance. I'm not pooing on the chance. I'm just saying that in front of me, I was like, oh, that just shaved the post. When you watch it back, it was a little bit wide. But and then that brings us nicely onto our first goal, Dad. So goalkeeper he was having a bit of a mare, weren't he, that goalkeeper? Just his distribution.
It surprised me, because obviously we prep for these podcasts, don't we? So we did a bit of research on Stockport, and the Stockport fans love him. He's got a good reputation with the Stockport fans. So they think he's a good goalkeeper. I think he was out injured and he's come back, and they're really pleased. But he didn't have the best of games in the first half, definitely.
His distribution was poor.
And that he wasn't it? And he hoofed the ball out a few times, spooned it, but. And he could be nervousness, It's a big stadium, and the goalkeepers do make mistakes. But he was culpable for that first goal, because he threw it out. Anderson intercepted it, didn't he?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, when we looked at the Shrewsbury game, Dad, and we said from a Birmingham City point of view that they were really poor goals to concede. Don't get me wrong, I'm taking nothing away from and our high press, because we had to swarm to get the ball back, the keeper passed it around. But from Stockport, they'll be kicking themselves from this. That was a really poor goal to concede.
Well, it was, because the goalkeeper, Ben Hinchcliffe, that's the goalkeeper. He literally threw it out. I mean,
he went straight to Keshy Anderson.
Yeah, but I think he might not have seen him at the corner of his eye, because Anderson came in. Yeah. Obviously, high press. High press again, and it was really, like you say, an outstanding first half. So he gets the ball, takes it down to the goal line, cuts it across. Alfie, mate, in that position again, because he's the number 9 now, and he's in his post-match interview, he said he might have scuffed it a little bit, but he got a deflection. But got a goal scorer at number 9 has to be in that position to hit it, and when you hit it towards the goal, that can happen. You either go straight in, gets a deflection.
How many times have we said in this podcast that if you don't shoot, you don't score? Put the ball in the mixer, get it in the box, hit the. It could hit the post, it could hit the deflection, and this is a perfect goal which summarises that. It was a. Straight to Anderson, and then to May, off the defender's leg and in the back of there. But that's the exact point. Yeah. You got to shoot on side to have those chances, and we proved if you get the ball in the box and shoot, you can score.
Exactly.
I know it sounds really simple, but sometimes we over-engineer, don't we?
We do, but I think that goal for Alfie May, he said that in his post-match interview. I listened to it really quite interestingly. He said that he felt he needed the goal himself. He said it himself. He just felt. He said he sat in his car on the way to the game and thought, this is the time now, or something like that. About he needs to score. He needs confidence. And obviously, he got the first one. Not long after, he got the second.
Yeah. Do you reckon he was in his car listening to the Rocky theme tune, or sort of psyching himself up for the game?
I think he was listening to our podcast.
Yeah, fair enough.
But he got that goal. And he's goalkeepers thrive on confidence. Goal scorers thrive on confidence, and that goal is going to do in the world. We're going to straight after. Not long after, 10 minutes later. Second goal.
Similar goal, really. It was in terms of Keshy Anderson again down the right-hand side. Absolute magician for that first half. Fantastic.
I love this goal. This was such a good goal for me. Because it was, like you said, Anderson again down the right-hand side. But the way, instinctively, a goal scorer like Alfie May will know where the ball's going to go. Yep. Cuts in. And it's such a sweet little dink, isn't it, as well? Yeah. What a great goal that was. That made it 2-0. But that's another thing as well, Matt, with a 2-goal lead, suddenly... It doesn't take the pressure off us, but it makes it a little bit more comfortable. With 1-0, like we've seen in so many games, or a 1-goal lead, you're always vulnerable, aren't you? But 2-0, we go in at half time with lots of confidence. And
well, actually, before we do, Dad, I mean,
Brian Allsop.
Yeah, just because I think this deserves its own moment of recognition. Allsop with 2 back-to-back incredible saves, and to me, that was just as good as a goal. Because if Stockport score that just before half-time, the second half's a completely different game because they have something to fight for, they have something to come back in. Allsop, fair play to you, mate. Absolutely incredible.
That was outstanding. It was Louis Barrett, and the last person who wanted to score was him. So he saved that, but he parried it, and then Carl Wootton come in. That's their two danger men. We mentioned that in the pre-video that it's Louis Barrett and Carl Wootton. They both had a pop, and he did. But he's got, he must have strong arms to do that because the player's coming in at pace as well. So I'm surprised he didn't break his arm. But what a great double save that was, and fair play, Ryan Allsop. I mean, that was
because goalkeepers can fly under the radar sometimes because Keshy Anderson's got all the plaudits, Alfie May's got all the plaudits for the assists and the goals and the performance. But actually, that was just as important as a goal. So Allsop deserves all the credit he's going to get for that, and fair play to him because, he's really cemented himself in the team now, hasn't he, Allsop? He's our first team goalkeeper. He's outstanding.
You feel comfortable with him.
He's showing us now the goalkeeper he was at Hull, isn't he?
Exactly.
At the championship level.
That crossed my mind when I looked at him as well, because I think he was a bit sort of... I think when he first came into the team, he obviously made a few little mistakes, but I think he was getting used to new players, new system and all that. But he's pure quality, and he like you said, he's the goalkeeper who wants him to be. Yeah. So I'm really pleased for him he did that. And like you said, it was important he saved that as well, because then 2-1 at half-time is very different in terms of their mentality. They're going to come out and go at us. But I mean, fair play to Dave Challoner. He made 3 changes, and
did it make a difference?
It did make a difference.
The first 10 minutes of the second half, they definitely came at us, didn't they? Their shape was different. They were higher up the pitch.
If you're 2-0 down away, and you get to half time, you've got to do something different.
But what I loved about this game, Dad, I don't know whether you agree here. The first half, I thought we were class. Really good passing, really good build up of play, good out on the wings again, which was really good to see. And the second half, okay, it wasn't a perfect performance, but we gritted it out, we stuck in, we fought, and we were determined. And I love seeing both sides to our game in that way, that we can mix it up technically, score good goals, but we can also match them for physicality and the fight as well. And the second half for me was more about the fight than it was the technical side of the game. And we hung in there, we dug in, and we didn't concede a goal, and we hung in for that 2-0. I thought it was a really classy base 2-half performance.
Yeah, I mean the second half. I mean they had some good moves. Stockport. As I say, you can tell that they're a team that have been together a long time. They've had the momentum and the confidence from coming up from all the leagues actually. But they actually were the League 2 champions last season. You can see why they're a good side. And I think they're going to be challenging for the playoffs possibly. And we showed that we can also defend, which over the last 2 games. Well, I mean, to be fair, with respect to Exeter, there weren't an awful lot to defend there, was there, against Exeter? We controlled that game completely. There's more of a threat from Stockport in terms of their goal scoring threat, and we nullified it. Yeah, they put a few balls. They went very, very direct in the second half.
They did,
and that creates its own challenge, doesn't it? Because you set up obviously in one way to stop them when the ball's on the floor, but when teams get direct, and then we got people like Clara and Ben Davies at the back. You think, they're just brick walls, aren't they?
But what I will say, Dad, and this is my only constructive criticism, because I don't even want it to be a negative, because it's not, but we're still vulnerable to Route 1 defensive football. So, when teams do go more direct and they lump it, don't get me wrong, Clara, Beilek and Davis, they are fantastic, but there's something in the way we defend. I think we still look a little bit vulnerable. Do you agree?
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because there's a number of occasions they put the long ball out to their wingers, and they were like one-on-one with our defenders, and you're always worrying, well, that ball comes across. But to be fair, we defended it well, but it does make us vulnerable. But that's the problem with a team like us. If we're going to play, on the front foot, we are going to get exposed on occasions at the back. And so that's just a sort of a casualty, let's say, of the way we play. Something else I noticed as well, have you noticed as well that we were 2-0 up, and we weren't trying to waste time? This is Birmingham City. Any team that's beating us or even by 1 goal, they're like, the ball's gone, there's injuries going down. But our team, I noticed this on a number of occasions where we could have took our time with a throw-in.
It's not our style.
Apart from Allsop got booked for keep, but that was ridiculous, because it would have been about 4 seconds over what he's allowed, when other goalkeepers are doing 3, 4, 5 times that amount. But that was crazy. But it's good to see that we are still trying to score more goals. I think it's because we were 2-0 up. I think if there was a 1 goal difference, I think we would have slowed the game down a little bit on occasions. But it just shows you that we got the confidence now to keep going at teams.
Chris Davies doesn't want us to do that whole time. Right? He wants us to score 4, 5, 6 goals down. He would rather us go and completely demolish the opposition as opposed to burning the clock down and hoping for a 1-0 or a 2-0. He'd rather us just keep scoring. I mean, you can see that with Blues. And I don't want this to get missed out because I thought Lyndon Dykes, when he came on, really mixed it up, got amongst it, was winning his aerial battles. He gave us a little bit of a different outlet, didn't he? Because Alfie May is that, I guess, Dykes is a bit of a poacher because he's the physical in the box, get it in head and close distance. But he gives us that physical outlet, didn't he? And Stockport in the second half got even more physical. So I actually think Dykes was the perfect sub for this game, and I think he did brilliantly when he came on.
Yeah, we'd be a different team without Dykes. I think you can't underestimate his physical presence because you come up against these like League One teams. That, imagine he wasn't there. Okay, we've got a few physical players, but not the sort of like the brawler type.
I love him.
The
he
brawler.
Just kicks people.
He's a brawler type of physical player that just won't take any nonsense, and that helps because then that means that's to say, hang on a second, you ain't going to push us around.
Exactly.
So I'll say, bring you on.
Yeah.
Well,
this was the perfect game for him to come on. You're 2-0 up. You're kind of defending the lead a little bit, and they're physical. Yeah. Lyndon Dykes is perfect for this game.
Yeah,
so.
And I think as well, if he gets the service, he will score more goals. But we had that, before we forget, that chance from Stansfield as well, where Anderson just looped it. Weird, it was almost like a slow motion.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And the goalkeeper made actually, I think it was a TV save, to be honest. It was, but
the cross was slow, the hit was slow, and the jump from the keeper was slow. It was just, as you say, it almost felt like it was in slow motion, didn't it?
But that was another possible chance. But as far as Stockport goes, my overall impression of Stockport is a decent team. They've got pace. They will hurt teams on the wings, and obviously they depended a lot on Louis Barry, I think, in terms of creating and scoring goals. And if they lose him in January, which I think would be a ridiculous decision for Aston Villa to call him back. Why would you do that? He's doing so well. You think, what are you going to do? Put him in another team? But just leave him there. If that's what I would do if I was Aston Villa. But that's their business and what they do. But you did say he had little spells of where he did okay. But Beilek, completely snuffed him out.
There is no doubt Louis Barry didn't have a good game.
No.
Beilek completely dominated him and he didn't get much. But when he was on the ball, I think you can tell there's a quality player in there. I think in the right context. Yeah. There's no doubt Louis Barry is a good player. He just was completely nullified by Beilek. And similar to Stockport, there's no doubt there's a team in there that can play football. We just outplayed them on the night, that was all. So there's no doubt that Stockport are going to be a very decent League One team this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs. I think they can.
I think they will as well. Yeah. Good turnout from their fans as well. Wednesday night, sorry.
Quite noisy as well until we scored.
Yeah.
They were pretty good. They brought some songs and... overall, no hard feelings to Stockport. I think they're a decent team. I think Dave Chandler's a good manager. I have a lot of respect for Dave Chandler. I think he's done a great job there. And we play them soon. Actually, we play them on the first New Year's Day.
I think that'll be a tough game. I think they'll be different at home. Be a different proposition at home. So I think that will be a good game. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we won this game. 3 points. 2 clean sheets in a row in the league now, and all looking really good. It's good. Tom Wagner was there as well.
Yes,
and the fan park. We didn't get round to see the new fan park, but from what I've heard and seen, it looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it does. Apparently, Wagner was there on the mic, not DJing, but he was there.
Did a bit of rapping.
He was there, saying thank you and to the Blues fans. And I love I love the fact he just mixes with the fans. Yeah. He's a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. I don't know his personal wealth, but he just mixes it up with the everyday person, doesn't he? I think the Blues fans really appreciate that, and we see that. So
it was nice to get 3 points for him and the club, and on to Barnsley next.
On to Barnsley, indeed. So, as always, Birmingham City supporters, we'd love to hear from you. What do you think about the game? Do some of our opinions fair there? Do you agree? Do you have some thoughts of yourself? Please drop us a comment in the section below. Myself and Dad will get round to that as soon as we can. And Stockport fans, maybe you watched the pre-video, maybe you've tuned into this for the first time. Please let us know your thoughts on the game as well. If you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also on Spotify now as well. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to press that big red subscribe button and press the bell notification if you want to get notified every time we post a video. And myself and Dad will see you on the next video all about Birmingham City.